Hello, everybody. Welcome in. I think I'm a little late to the party tonight. There might have been a few seconds of delay there, but hopefully everybody's doing well. Better than that start of the show. John, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, it's been a rough one.
Bummer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of that one of those things, and we really didn't have too much that we wanted to talk about, but I thought a good way to start would be to like this whole concept of creating content. Has it changed how you've been doing stuff?
Mm, I'm probably going to need a little more elaboration, but first off, before you do anything, I have to ask, can you share your
Oh,
thing real quick for me?
yeah, I just realized I wasn't doing that. So what I mean by that is like ever since we got into creating content for, Twitch and YouTube and TikTok and everything, um, like I know it's probably more on me because I'm the one that's doing a lot of it, but like I don't have the drive to do certain things anymore. Like if I wanted to print myself something fun or whatever with my 3D printer, I would have to seriously think about it and decide if I wanted to do it or not. Like I've had that thought where I'm like, do I want to print this or do I devote my printer time to something that's much more practical?
Well, I think that comes with the territory of um,
Yeah.
like especially because you've been posting videos on like your Pokeballs and your kilt that you're making.
Now, speaking
Uh,
of which, you know what? I don't think we've talked about those. Let's. I hope this is the one.
and just for anybody who is maybe wondering, Kirk will be on here in a few minutes. He's just had a late shift tonight, so we'll
So
we'll hear from him in a few minutes. But
yeah,
continue.
let me get this. Let me get this pulled up while we're talking about this. But yeah, the thing that I've had issues with is like just getting motivated. Pokeballs.
Well, motivation, comes with how do you put that? So when you're doing work that's not necessarily fun, I feel like it's harder to motivate yourself to do those things because you're, potentially not doing something that you might find exciting. Now, when it comes to my side, like when I go to 3D print something, I struggle on the other end where sometimes I just can't think of anything to print, so I just walk away.
Yeah, I've had that too. Like that's been a big thing for me. When I'm not printing a project or something like that, I just sit there and I'm like, what? I don't know what I want to print, or if something takes a long time. Like I know we had started when we first started doing TikTok, you were going to print a guitar, and that was something that kind of just we I printed the ocarinas, you started printing the guitar, and then it failed.
I actually am circling back to that. I just had to uh basically the filament that I was using was not very good, and I hadn't bought any new filament because I wasn't printing anything. Now I have new filament and I want to circle back to the guitar.
Yeah, see, I have the same issue with filament. Like I am currently doing the Pokeballs, as you can see here, and part of it is I'm doing those in white so that I can paint them because they're kind of custom and they need to be painted to look like what they are. Like the one on the far right there, the Eevee. Like you wouldn't be able to tell it was specifically an Eevee if it didn't have the colors, and even then, it's kind of hard to tell. Uh, but the colors help kind of differentiate and be like, oh, okay, no, that definitely is what it looks like. Like even Beedrill's kind of hard to see, He's
Yeah, I think the mushroom one's my favorite.
Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in fairness, that's one of my favorite Pokemon. But what happened was I bought some white filament because Amazon has their own filament now. So I bought some of the Amazon Basics filament because it wasn't the cheapest, but it's being that it's Amazon's filament, it got to me the fastest. Probably.
Sure.
I don't know. I bought it because it was there. And I started printing separate Pokeballs. And I don't know if I have a picture of them, but I made a Golduck and I can't remember the other one. I think it was it's Nickit from the 8th generation from Sword and Shield. And I started printing them, but the filament started lifting off the bed. And I thought, well, that's obviously something I did. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. I stopped the print and I was like, you know what? It was late on a Sunday. I was like, I was just gonna let it print overnight, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't particularly care to have this print go on and fail and all of that. So this weekend, or today, I should say, I started printing off. My second project that I'm working on is a 3D printed X-ray markers, and I was using the white filament that I had from Amazon because it was already on the spool. It was loaded. I hadn't really printed anything all week, and the same thing happened. The print started lifting off the bed. It's garbage filament, and
it'll ruin any project that you try.
Yeah,
start even when you get motivated. Sometimes, like the last time I went to use my printer, the bed got kind of out of level, and I just walked away because I was like, I don't want to level the bed.
And that's just it. Like and that was what kicked me it was what motivated me to realize that it wasn't anything I was doing. It was just shitty filament. And it was like, because immediately after the markers printed, they all printed, but they were lifting off the bed. Like the corners were bent up. It was just, little defects that didn't really affect, and that's why I let it continue going. But ultimately, they were all defective, in a sense. And I was like, okay, that's fine. I cleaned my bed, I got it all prepped, and I was like, I need to get the last set of tiles finished for the 3D printed kilt I'm working on. So I was like, okay, and I started it, and I didn't have any of the lifting issues. Like, it was a perfect print. Like, it was all level, none of the filament lifted up, there was no defects, didn't pull off the bed. It was just because the filament is garbage.
But that could be said for almost anything that you do. I mean, I understand the motivation problem because sometimes it's just really hard. I've been working on my own solo project for the last, say, week. And what I find for me, and this is just a personal thing, is I get started on something and I have a full head of steam. But the second I stop, I start to go, what am I doing? Do I even want to do this? Is it good? I start second guessing everything. And then, so it kind of takes a little bit of fortitude to be able to just sit down, go back to it, and start over. Your brain plays funny tricks on you, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely. But, that's one of the things that the most bizarre thing is ever since I started streaming, and we started streaming games again on Twitch, which wasn't until October? Because it was, we played 7 Days to Die right after Halloween, or it was right before Halloween. And ever since then, I've had very little motivation to play any of the games that I would normally play if I'm not streaming. And I've had this problem before, back decade ago when I was running my YouTube channel. If I I wouldn't let myself sit down and just enjoy a game because I was like, oh, I should be using this time to be making a video instead. And that just kind of
don't you think that that's part of the problem though? Is especially with streaming and making videos, it kind of becomes a bit of a second job.
Oh, absolutely.
In a sense. Because you're constantly trying to come up with different things and you're doing this and then I mean, even for that point, like I can only imagine the big time Twitch streamers. The last thing they want to do after streaming for 8 hours of video games is thinking about video games.
It depends. There's definitely
maybe not some of them, but
yeah, there's that's just it. Like, and that's the problem we've had with space engineers. Like, there's one last thing I want to do. The problem is I can't. Like when we're playing and we're streaming, it becomes too hard to focus on that one job that I want to do. And then, that was part of the thing was like when we were outside of streaming. I was thinking, I'm like, oh well, I could do it outside of streaming. But it just wouldn't. There we go.
Well, Kirk is actually in the Discord now, but he's we can hear rustling. We're not sure what it is.
It's such as that. Oh, that threw me off a little bit. Let's go back to Pokeballs. Yeah, the thing with that. I can't even remember what we're talking about. I know it was about games, but like, space engineers. Like, there's something I want to do that's going to be hilarious and amazing. I just had to motivate myself to do it while not streaming.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I understand your plight here. I mean, I know what you're going through, and the solution is always worse than it sounds, or I don't know how I would phrase it, but usually for me, it's just forcing myself to sit down and do it. And usually once I get into it and I actually start the project, I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. Sometimes it's just getting over that mental hurdle of being like, all right, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. Like that. There's so many projects, and that was the thing that I was trying to talk to or tell you about this week was that there's so many projects that have like come to life in the last 2 weeks, and it's picking them apart one by one has been difficult. Like the Pokeballs, fun project. But it took a significant amount of time. Same with the kilt. It takes time to do these projects.
Well, and I can equate it, John, to you remember over the summer, I was doing those wiffle balls.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very defeating process. And what ended up happening is I started to get like angry at wiffle balls because I was immersed in it so much, and then eventually I gave up on it because I was like, you know what, this is stupid. I'm just gonna go buy some wiffle balls and be done with it, which is what I ended up doing. Had I have stuck with it, maybe I would have created something cool, but it was just taking up so much of my time.
Yeah,
it wasn't worth it to me.
I can definitely see that, and it's
truck's backing up.
Yeah, the like the things we could do, like now that they have the stretchy PLA and all of that stuff, it might be a project to revisit.
I think so. Like I was talking to somebody about it today, actually, which made me think about it. And I had some pretty cool designs. Like I even had one that functioned fairly well, except for it broke, and then I got pissed and I quit. So, it's all about perseverance and having the mental fortitude to just keep plowing through, which is much like work. If you weren't forced to be at work, no one would ever work.
God,
so, no. Yeah. but the fact of the matter is you hunker down and you do it because you have to, and then you move on. But
Yeah,
you're still
that's
gonna.
so depressing sounding.
Yeah, I know, but guess what? That's life. Get used to it.
Still, that's I only
And
say
I wasn't ignoring you. I wasn't trying to ignore you. I was actually very busy this week for
oh no, I
stupid reasons that I don't want to get into. But yes, I was crushed. So
yeah. On the bright side, I will have hopefully all 4 of my printers running. So
nice.
I'm going to vent about Creality and the Ender 3 because everyone seems to be so in love with this crappy printer. Don't get me wrong, it's a good printer, it's easy to upgrade. It took me 10 minutes to put they have a new touch on it that auto levels the bed, which is great. So the one that we had on was having issues. I don't know what the hell was going on with it, but replaced it, fine. It was like $30. I went to go upgrade the extruder to give it the dual gear extruder, but I ran into a problem where they have a press fit on the stepper motor. So I couldn't take it off to replace it with the new gear. And yeah, I can either strip it off or cut it off or do stuff or just spend $16 and buy another stepper motor, which is what I ended up having to do.
Hello. There.
Hello.
Did I make the technology work?
Yes.
Yay! All right.
No, you've been working for like the last 10 minutes. We could hear you shuffling around and making
Microwaving
nachos and
Yeah.
all the things.
I was told. Yeah. So if you guys hear me eating nachos, that's me eating nachos. Oh, look, I just got off work. All right.
Yeah, no worries.
I see Play-Doh. It looks like you made anime head covers for Play-Doh. Is that right? Is that what I'm looking at?
Custom Pokeballs. That's probably just
okay. So those are Pokemon figures on top. But is that Play-Doh? Am I right?
Yeah, you're right on the Play-Doh. Yep.
Okay. Good. Okay.
Those are just display cups, Kirk. That's all that is.
Yep.
And we were talking a little bit about 3D printing and how sometimes things can be, and you might actually have an interesting perspective on this, Kirk, because John was talking about how sometimes it's really hard to find motivation to do things that, like projects such as space engineers or making these Pokeballs or just finding the motivation to get up and actually do something that it's not that you don't want to do it, you're just not motivated to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's got to come down to, I mean, if you're not enjoying doing it, any aspect of it, that's the thing. Like there's hard work and drudgery in whatever you do. If to develop a skill, you need to put some effort into it. So unless you have a passion for it, because starting off, you're not going to make any money. And for most likely 99% of you aren't going to make any money off of doing it. So it's just got to be for I don't know, you could build birdhouses or you could create you know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, it's just creating different things. It's a ship in a bottle, but it's your script or your manuscript or whatever.
I only laughed because that is legitimately one of the projects that I am having issues starting. Is
Are you building birdhouses? You want
to? Yeah. So I have a camera, and one of my favorite things is bird watching. And we like to watch the birds as they eat the seeds off our back porch and all of that, like most people that live in apartments. Sure. The camera that I was currently using was sitting on top of a bunch of boxes that I had found, pointing out the back door into the bird feeder, which was fine until no birds showed up. And then I got to thinking about it, and I'm like, it would probably be better if I was able to design and mount the camera inside of the bird feeder so that it had a better view. I wasn't trying to mount it on stuff, and the cats weren't constantly knocking the damn thing over.
Yeah, well, it just seems like you need that little project to keep you from going crazy. You need I think if you're not working on something, I think that's when things go dark real quick. Because there's nothing to occupy your mind.
I was thinking about when John was talking about it, and then you popped in. Like when you would sit down and write jokes for an hour.
Right.
You probably didn't all the time be like, you know what I want to do today? I want to write some jokes. I'm assuming sometimes you have to be like, okay, it's joke writing time. I'm going to do it. Let's write some jokes.
It's just sort of like going to the gym. It's just going. It just has to become a part of your routine. It's 10 a.m. This is what I do. There's no choice. That's the thing. Like, there's no other option. You just do it, and then here's the thing. Like, it's playing guitar, getting calluses. Your fingers adapt. You get used to it. It becomes sort of. I mean, at some point, like certain days were better than others. Sometimes I would come up with 17 jokes that I thought were just great. I thought all of these would make somebody laugh. And then some days it was 6. But, overall, you kind of would churn out like 10 jokes a day, and you just kind of, I don't know. It was like, it was just like what you did for 45 minutes. It's just like I said, once you just set that time aside, and it's not a question. It's not an option. Do I want to do this? That's not even a thought. It's just you're doing it.
Yeah,
I like that perspective, because that's kind of what I think I was hinting at as far as forcing yourself to do something. As far, if it's only, I'm going to wake up today and I'm going to spend 45 minutes working on the design for this 3D printed guitar. That's what I'm doing for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not an option. This is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. And the bonus of it too is once you start doing it, you get better at it. You get sharper. It becomes quicker. You get better at it. You notice yourself. So it's like it's like a muscle. You get stronger. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, my biggest problem is doing stuff on a schedule. Like, it was back when we were doing the podcast on Saturday, it was a little bit easier because I would have the morning where I really didn't have much else to do, so I had to force myself to do something. And it was usually like work on rendering stuff or, things of that nature.
I think as long as you see progress, as long as you know what I mean? Like, if you're churning out something, like it's that song or that joke or that anime, if I did that 5 years ago, that would have taken much longer. There's stuff like that of just efficiency. You're trimming the fat. You can't explain. You've just put in your dues, so to speak. You've gone through the grunt work. You developed some sort of competency.
And not everything is going to lead to the next best thing in the world, but as long as you get some sort of value out of it, that's probably all right. It's just
I think everybody's people trying to monetize everything, and it's almost like the Instagram getting on, becoming an influencer is like sort of the new gold rush. Like, people don't see good options around, so they're like, I'll just be famous, and it's just they don't have anything to say yet. They're not old enough to be interesting.
It's funny you say that, because that's absolutely a valid take on it. It is a gold rush. It's a digital gold rush.
It's the same. Economically, things are so bad. The mill dried up. There's nothing to do. It's either this or become a heroin addict. That seems to be the way people are going. But when people are hopeless, it kind of bums them. It's like when there's just this malaise of, I've never seen anybody in my family do well. It's got a drain on you. It's not good for your psyche.
Absolutely.
You need like a winning organization. You need, all right. So go ahead, Chris.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's probably what I would say a persistent problem for a lot of people, not just you or me or Kirk or, I'm sure anybody out there could say, hey, I really could have done something today, but instead I sat on the couch and did nothing, or I played a video game because I didn't have anything else to do.
See,
there's 1,000 different things you could do. You just don't want to.
That's the thing. Like, I wish I could just be like, I'm just going to sit down and play a video game. You know what? I had a migraine this week and left work a little bit early. Came home, was trying to go to bed. The only thing I could think about was making stupid 3D printed markers because we were talking about them. And that's all I thought about. Like, could have just sat there and been like, I'm home early a little bit, and it'd be nice.
Did you get some good thoughts? Did you put something together?
Oh yeah, no, it's currently printing, or it's probably finished printing on my wife's printer right now.
And to me, this is sort of, like athletes don't complain about calluses. I think when you're doing creative work, part of the thing is sort of sometimes a mental exhaustion and just sometimes not feeling creative. So you don't want to. But that's just sort of the skin knee, pulled hamstring of somebody else's job. So it's like, yes, you can complain about it, but I think that's just, it's what it is. It's going to happen.
Well, and to that point, me and Kirk, so I'm lucky enough now that I see Kirk every day, basically, almost. And we have a good chunk where we get to play guitar. And it's amazing how much it doesn't feel like work and the amount of progress that I have made. And I don't know about Kirk. Kirk's pretty good at guitar, but
no, just having somebody else to bounce off of is better.
Yeah.
There's someone to play with.
And I think, but my point was, it's like we've been playing for a couple months. We play guitar 2 or 3 times, 4 times a week, depending on the week. And it's kind of amazing the doors that get opened, as far as just honing a craft and being able to I could sit down and play guitar again and be like, oh yeah, I'm having fun. Versus maybe 6 months ago when I would sit down and play and be like, I've been playing the same 4 songs over and over again. This is boring.
Scotty doesn't know.
I still like that one. But
I think it's just basically, it's like once you learn some basics, once you get, the chords, there's some fundamentals you got to know. But once you keep doing it, it's like it can be meditative where really 40 minutes just go. Like you look at the clock and you're like, oh wow, man. But it was because you were just in, I don't know. It's one of those things, it's hard to explain. But it's, being in the zone for a basketball player or whatever you're doing good at, it just seems effortless. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will have to add, when you said being in the zone, the first thing that popped into my head was AutoZone.
Yeah, that's good marketing. Me and Tiffany used to joke that when we're 70 years old, we'll still be singing O'Reilly's.
It's weird how marketing does it works.
Auto parts.
It gets stuck in your head.
Or you that one 90s commercial that just never leaves. Like Double Mint gum.
Right. You remember that, but like, a person
Yeah.
you met
No.
8 times and you can't remember his name. You're like, there's no more room. Like, that's as a computer guy, you've got to figure out if they're going to invade our brains anyway, and tell us to bow to Bill Gates, as they will. No, but is there a way, just like files? I want to delete files. There's certain space. I'm not using it efficiently. That's the problem.
We've talked about this before, and I would agree. This kind of also leads into the other thing I wanted to talk about. I know we were going to talk about SpaceX, but I wish there was a way to pre-prioritize like a computer. Defrag your mind. Get rid of the old crap like marketing and bring in some new things. But to kind of shift it away from motivational, because we went oddly motivational there is a service.
Oh, you're going to go dark? Is that
what No. Well, it can go that way.
What? Get out of here.
So there is a service that is called the Library of Babel. On this service,
is that the foreign language thing?
No. So with the Library of Babel, what they did was they used algorithm to predict where every letter of a 3200 character string of letters would fall. So, if I'm going to bring this up here, Chris, say a sentence.
Are you talking about any sentence?
Hold on. I put in here, I'm going to delete some things, but we're going to go back to this. So as you can see here, I said, Chris, we're going to put a comma and said, are you talking about any sentence? Oh, I could probably put the comma in the right space. Chris said,
all right, I'm trying, but you're losing me.
Hold on. This has the exact thing. Like if we click right here, Chris said, are you talking about any sentence? So in this 3200, and it's kind of unfortunately small, let me shrink it down here a little bit, which is going to make it almost unreadable. It basically predicts everything. Like
is that the Da Vinci Code?
Essentially.
Ooh,
so
Da Vinci Code?
The way it was described to me is in this program or this website, it has everyone's exact way they died. But it also has like 1 million that aren't exactly correct. It also has all of Kirk's tweets. All of Kirk's tweets that he will ever tweet, and all the ones that he has tweeted.
Who cares? There's a goddamn big space computer that has everything. So what? Like just accept it. You're gonna fight it.
That's but
take it to City Hall.
I don't believe. I mean, okay, you could say that yes, that computer system has every combination of words that anybody could possibly speak. That's just numbers. Yes, eventually it could potentially predict everything that someone said. But
I took Kirk's most recent tweet. And
what was my most recent tweet?
I got transferred to Virginia tech support and couldn't understand a word the guy said. The exact match. And this puts up the exact match is in this book. Oh.
Come on, that's not a bad. Come on, Virginia. No. Come on.
But yeah.
Hey, yo, what's going on down? They don't even have computers yet, so they can't help. It's just aggravating.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it'd be hard to say, oh yeah, this is exactly it. But yeah, I just thought that the technology behind it is fascinating. Like the fact that everything that has ever been said that can fit into 3,200 characters is on this website.
Yeah,
And I
it
think
seems-
that's fascinating.
it's it's just numbers.
Nah.
It's I see what they're trying to do there, but to me that's just
I'd
It's not
rather think about other stuff. I don't like. I don't know. It's just one of those things that just doesn't register as something to.
Yeah.
It's happening. What are you going to fight the power? What are you going to do? You're going off the grid? You're not going off the grid. Just accept.
It's
fine.
more of a.
They're not tracking you. You're not Jason Bourne, right? No one's trying to kill you.
my new quest is to find a sentence that computer does not know that I will say.
Yeah, it would be impossible. But yes,
Let's go eat a salad. Never saw it coming.
Well, from you, yes, of course.
you know what? I'm not going to pull it up.
Last night I took a shower.
That, yeah, the system does not compute. Doesn't register.
Well, I kind of liked your the way you started this, John, because I feel like the motivation talk that was actually, it was well worth speaking on because it's a funny. Oh, I almost called it an emotion. It's not really an emotion, but it's something that everybody deals with, and finding the motivation to do anything is
I don't mean the chili. When you said I made the chili, and you said a text of like, yeah, that chili, and I texted you, yeah, that chili was good. Yay me. You know what I mean? Like that was you beat yourself up all the time just to actually acknowledge, like, no, that was actually good. That was tasty. That was damn fine chili. Right? Just act when you do well. Admit it. You're not being cocky. You're not being arrogant. You're actually, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but
you got to embrace yourself sometime.
But there's definitely a bit of social pressure to that as well.
It's always like,
Yeah,
it's not that good. It wasn't. Oh, well, it could have been better. But it's no. Hey, that was fucking good chili.
yes, and my response to that, John, is fuck them.
No, I agree, but and that kind of fits into the thing that we were going to talk about with like depression. Like it's something that us growing up, we were told, hey, just deal with it. Rub some sand in it.
Perhaps to walk it off.
Yeah, and
yeah,
that's not a great take on it.
Well,
yes. No, talk to somebody.
The boys thing too. Don't cry. Don't be a girl. Especially that's a big part of it too. So just don't have emotions. It's not that just shut her down.
It's funny because that's one of the things that was like instrumental growing up. Is like it was pretty much like don't ever cry.
Right.
And that is something that I still struggle with to this day.
Well, I mean, don't constantly cry, but
Well, but you see my point, though. It's
occasionally, not all the time.
Ever since I had kids, I feel like I cry at Disney movies and crap. So,
the emotions are getting to you.
Yeah, but see, that's. It's funny you do mention Disney movies because I think that's probably the same thing. Like when I'm genuinely upset, I'm like, nope, can't cry. That's not allowed. But watching Disney movies or anything like that, I'm like, oh God, don't do it.
They're tugging on your heartstrings. They're doing everything. They got the music and the lighting, and I mean, they're masters at it. It's almost like you're just getting beat by a better opponent. You're like, okay. The dog. I thought the dog died, but the dog came back. All right, damn it! But
well, speaking of crying, I do want to talk about SpaceX tonight, and crying to me is NASA right now.
Oh yeah, no, it's
they're washed up. They're
afraid SpaceX will actually do what. This is why I was saying NASA is irrelevant. Like if
I saw Did I send you the story that I came across the other night about NASA and SpaceX?
Yeah, I think I'd already read it. But that's just it. It's if SpaceX is successful, every current launch system that is being developed, already working, or anything like that is fundamentally useless. The SLS, which has cost the US government billions, worthless.
Right.
Because it is only designed to take Apollo level shit to the moon.
And basically, the story that we're referencing here is there was a lot of people have come out and said that NASA is very scared of SpaceX, which is why they keep red taping the crap out of them, is because they're worried that SpaceX will, the Starship in general, which is the crewed ship that they're trying to get
It's
going,
not crewed.
Eventually crewed,
Yes.
Wait, so basically NASA is just now another government program that is trying to stifle the competitor that's going to make it irrelevant.
No.
kind of. I mean, but
The
essentially, but hold on, let me finish my thought. If SpaceX is successful, and NASA will be at the mercy of SpaceX, because SpaceX will be able to go to Mars. They'll be able to go to Moon. They'll be able to do whatever the hell they want because they've got a spaceship that works, and NASA will have zero control over it other than red taping the crap out of them, which is what they're already doing. And it blows me away, and I think Kirk said it best, is if you're that worried about it, do better.
Or, see, that's the thing. Like, it's a catch-22 because it's government, it's governmental red tape, it's a bunch of lobbying, because that's what the whole thing with the SLS is. It's lobbying. People wanted the SLS to be built, in certain places using certain technologies that were, it's all kickbacks. Like, it's all about who's getting the money. And that's why the SLS costs so much.
Well, and honestly, they're even trying to attack SpaceX via Starlink as well. Now, do I think it's legitimate? Maybe, but they're trying to say that they won't be able to launch as many satellites as they want to into low Earth orbit because they're worried that astronauts will not be able to leave Earth because there'll be too many obstacles.
No, that's Kessler syndrome. So, no, that's not a thing. We've talked about this before. Even if SpaceX put 40,000 satellites into low Earth orbit, the chance of one of them ever hitting anything that's flying would be astronomically low. Like, I know China, was it China that threw a fit about Starlink coming close?
Oh, speaking of China, did you
you
see that it wasn't a SpaceX rocket that's about to hit the moon? It's a Chinese rocket.
Yep.
And when a Chinese rocket hits your planet, an hour later you're hungry again. Boom.
Oh,
okay.
No, I thought that was funny because they actually proved it. They were like, "Look, this is not a Falcon rocket; it's a Chinese rocket." And the whole time they were blaming SpaceX, which begs the question of why SpaceX. So they do have a rocket flying somewhere.
Well, no, it's similar orbits, I would assume, because they both flew a similar path, and I would assume that SpaceX's will eventually hit the moon. It's just it happened to be the Chinese one. Again, it doesn't matter. The moon is a sterile planet. When we talked about this, they're going to use it as a scientific experiment because they've crashed shit into the moon before for science. This time it's just, wasn't directly planned. But it's not
the moon was dead anyway. It doesn't seem like it's doing any damage. So go ahead, right?
Yeah,
every time we crash a rocket into the moon, it's still not cheese.
Yeah, no, I think there was something like
Maybe at the core there's cheese. Maybe there's nacho cheese.
96. There's like 96 bags of human waste on the moon from the Apollo missions. Like we don't care about the moon. The moon's it's gonna be the junk pile. Like, you know how you have all those science fiction movies with space and everything. There's always a planet with. I'm thinking Star Wars, but you know they have that planet where they throw all the shit. It's gonna be the moon.
Do you know that the 96 bags of human excrement? You know the term they have for it? Chris. They call it a Chris.
Come on.
They sell it as poopery ode to Chris. Is what they call it. It's not selling well. Not a lot of buyers. Not a lot of takers yet.
Only one.
It's you to combat the stink of you, which is just a never ending. It's just a Cheshire share, the staircase thing. It's anyway. So I haven't had Chris Stinks jokes in a while. I think that was the first one. So you're welcome for the restraint.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Kirk.
But I mean, back to the overall with SpaceX. Like, once Starship goes going, there's not going to be like. I think NASA's more worried about its future because it will end up becoming just a regulatory panel, like
kind of like the FAA. It's just going to control when ships launch.
But even then, like, there was a rumor that SpaceX is building a launch site in Canaveral, which means that they're either. Well, it just means that they're going to be able to put starships everywhere, and that was the goal.
And that would make the most sense if you're launching at a Canaveral. At least NASA has some perspective over it.
Oh, I mean, Houston's not that far from Boca Chica.
I think the other problem is NASA doesn't want to have to, they're not going to want to charter and pay SpaceX for their flights.
Well, it's that ship has sailed. Like,
but also, what's the other rocket company that is working with NASA?
Boeing. It's a Starliner.
No, Astra.
Oh, AstraZeneca. That it?
No, that's a medicine company.
I was gonna say that didn't sound right.
Astra is the rocket, and they had contracted with NASA to shoot a satellite up into space, and it blew up.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, now, Falcon 9's been flying for a while without blowing up, and then they try and go away from the Falcon rockets, and then they explode. So.
Well, you know how sometimes you send the wrong email. There's the thing. It's just like it's the work you're in. Just mistakes just seem bigger.
Well, and yeah, that's part of the problem is you have a company that has now proven itself, and when it is compared to other companies that, have had issues, SpaceX was not without problems. Like, a lot, like, they didn't have a successful mission until, like, almost their last one when they ran out of money. They're not this golden idol of space engineering. Like, there's a good chance the Starship is going to explode.
Well, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for Relativity.
You bastards.
I keep waiting for Relativity Space to jump into the news, but they haven't really done much. They're the 3D printed rocket company, Kirk.
All right. Well, John is yawning. Is it time for Kirk's Corner? Is that what that means?
Nah.
John's been up since 8 after going to bed at 2. But if we're ready for Kirk's Corner, that's fine. I think we've kind of beat SpaceX to death.
Yeah.
It's about that time of night.
My animation didn't work. But
Hey, there's not. He changed the champagne.
I can't. Is it a pizza? I can't tell.
It is a pizza.
It's an old. Is it a pizza? What?
Because we were talking
it's
about
heart-shaped pizza. Heart-shaped pizza.
that's what my initial goal was, and I completely forgot.
So you just went with the pizza shape. So you went the pizza pizza. So you were the inconsiderate husband who showed up with from Pizza Hut on Valentine's Day. Hey, honey, I brought pizza.
Yeah, the
It's
spicy
not shaped
pizza.
like a heart, and then you're in the doghouse. All right, good. Well, I actually at the bar I got reminded of an old joke that I like, so I got to tell this at a bar. So here's an old bar joke, okay? So there's a penguin, and he's driving an ice cream truck, and while he's driving, he has an ice cream cone, and he's just eating. He's going away, and it's getting all over his face, and then he breaks down. The car won't go anymore, and he ends up in a mechanic's place. And the guy goes, "Oh, you got a flat tire. It looks like you blew a seal." And the guy goes, "No, it's ice cream. I swear." All right, come on. That's an old. Ice cream. You didn't blow a seal. Okay, so it's time for that's the opus, the opening. So here's just a comedian's dozen, 12 jokes. Are you guys psyched? 12 jokes in 2 lists.
I don't know. Can you beat blowing a seal?
Well, let's see. Let's go. You know what? We started dirty, but then we went. Okay, so how about this? If you use a car jack to change your underwear, you might be a redneck. Okay, that's stuck on there tight. Okay. Here's one from the 80s, 90s. The KGB was never part of the East Coast family. Do you guys remember the East Coast family? ABC, BVD, the East Coast family. Come on. All right. You guys are too young, sons of bitches.
Yeah.
All right. How about this? Whistling at women. That's sexist. Slide whistling at women. That's just stupid. That's woo woo. I'm not even going to mace you. You're retarded. Okay. In the same vein, dress socks. They're professional. Mini skirt socks. That's just slutty. Come on, let's be honest. Here's a question for you guys. What color is a choking Smurf? That's already blue. What happens?
Red. Probably.
Red. You think red? You think they go red? Purple might be in there.
Yeah, purple makes more sense.
All right. How about this? Okay, so mean conquerors. They would salt the earth. They would salt the earth of the enemy. Nice conquerors would salt and pepper the earth. Little flavor. Well, wasn't as bad. Right, how about this? Blind people don't enjoy seafood. Don't. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm old school. I pickle fruit roll-ups. That's yes. Ugh, gross to think about.
I don't want to think. Yeah,
you don't even want to think about it. All right, well, we'll think about space then. Buzz Aldrin, spaceman. Buzz Aldrin always wanted an afro. He couldn't. His name was Buzz.
Hi, that was a stretch.
All right, two. We're almost to the list. 2 more. All right, how about this? No wedding gifts for people in their 40s. They should already have everything they need. Am I right?
Yeah.
You've already got pots. You're 40. You've learned how to use pots.
Yep.
All right. You know what? Fried rice pudding sounds amazing. Can we make that happen?
Sounds good.
You like pudding. You like fried rice. Fried rice pudding. And here's just, if you're going to form a jazz band, here's a good, here's my name for the jazz band. It's the Deadbeat Daddy-O's. Deadbeat. All right. Here we're going to the list now. The first list is these are, James Bond. James Bond had a license to kill. Everybody knows that. Here are licenses James Bond wanted to get, but he was rejected. They wouldn't allow him. So rejected James Bond licenses. You guys with me?
With you.
Yep.
Okay. So these were not, he did not get his license to Mambo. They would not okay that. He did not get a license to not pay a lot for this muffler. Was not okayed. He didn't get his license to make more licenses, which that would have been helpful. It would have saved a lot of time. He didn't get a license to file his taxes late. He's James, but still, give us their money. He didn't get a license to bumper boat, that's disappointing. And he did not get a license to stay up all night. Those were rejected James Bond licenses. So held on to your hats because there's more. So this is the last one. Confederate generals that were not as good as Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson, one of the most famous Confederate generals. These were people not as good as him. There was Screen Door Johnson. He was that's not as. There was Sidegate that never latches Franklin. He was not a good. There was Beads hanging in a doorway. Thomas. He didn't. There was 3-foot chain link fence Thompson. That was. You could just step right over him. There was Stickwall Goldstein, and then there was Strawwall Rodriguez. Which those last two, why are you fighting on the Confederate side? They seem to be okay. So that's the list. Any thoughts? What are you guys thinking?
I like Strawwall Rodriguez.
Not as good as Stonewall, but he's trying. He's hanging in.
Working on it.
He's an up and comer, maybe. With a little yeah, you got to start somewhere. And with a little tutelage from Stonewall, maybe he could work. Real petrified wood wall, or Rodriguez, petrified wood. That's pretty good. That's like stone.
As long as there's no wolves around, you're good.
Right, and that's always you run to Stonewall. So there's some historical silliness.
I like it. All right, John, take us back to our podcast booth in space.
Going back.
Well, that one got longer. That was a weird.
We really should get some oil for that door.
Nah.
Well, it's that time of night, gentlemen. Let's go off topic because I got a good one. So we can either start me or
go
wait
ahead
for last. But okay, so police in Michigan need our help. Okay. You guys don't want to help?
Go with the well, let's see what the popo wants.
So the police in Michigan are asking for the public's help because an unusual piece of property has been stolen. You guys want to know what it is?
Go ahead. Lay us on. Go ahead.
An entire cabin. Someone stole an entire cabin, and the police need help finding it.
So somebody's house was stolen?
Yeah, a 12 by 28 foot cabin. Someone just up and stole it, and they don't have any leads. So, brainstorming. Let's figure this out. It seems like you should be able to find a cabin
You would think.
No, I thought it was funny.
It's just more. It's a missing house, you know.
Yeah.
Ends up on a milk carton. Have you seen this house? Yeah, that's when you know the housing market's bad, when they start leaving. That's not a good sign.
I mean, steal your car, that's one thing. Steal your house, that's a tough one.
Well, what if it just wandered off because it just really didn't like the family? You know what I mean? It's like, this family and I are just not gelling, so I'm just going to skedaddle.
Well, hopefully it at least left a note. All right, who's next? Mine. I thought mine was going to be better. All right.
They're bringing back Futurama and King of the Hill.
Oh, I was going to talk about that tonight, and yes, I'm excited. Except for they're still in dispute with Bender.
No, they wouldn't have announced it if he wasn't coming back.
He was asking for more money, as it turns out. Like, basically, he was trying to hold out to get paid more.
It's gonna happen. Like, Bender is that show.
I told Kirk about it, and Kirk didn't really care about Futurama, so he's quiet.
King of the Hill, I think, is going to be the more interesting of the two.
Are you at least a King of the Hill fan, Kirk?
I think we lost Kirk.
We lost Kirk. Bummer. Let's see how long it takes him to get back. Anyway, well, Futurama, I'm pretty stoked about it. That was one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's
good show.
It was funny. Well, I can't say it's funny because it falls into like the nostalgia that we were talking about. I just bought the first season of SWAT Cats today.
Okay, there, I'm back.
Oh, yeah, he's
Go
back.
ahead. Yeah, I don't know. Goddamn technology. I don't know. I don't get it.
So, Futurama's back. King of the Hill's back. That's where we are at.
All right, it's better than most. So, yay. That's on the good side.
What do you got, Kirk? Anything good?
Well, I was just saying, this will be, episode 52 will be my last. So that's my off topic. I was going to announce to the fans that there's a couple more. So I don't expect a big, compilation best of package like Carson, but if you guys want to, go ahead. And, if we hit 500,000 people phoning in, I might come back, but no. So John, you're pale, and stop murdering prostitutes because you may run out, and then what would you do? You'd be left just ration. That's what I'm saying. Just it's like the hunters and the deer. Just enough is enough. And Chris, you smell. And James Brown said you're 10 times as funky as he is, and he's been dead for over a decade. So if that doesn't tell you.
Wow, that is so Kirk will be done on the podcast after episode 52. He made it to a year, and he's gonna move on to other projects. So we wish
Thank you. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say we hadn't said anything. Only on episode 49, so we weren't gonna do it. 2 weeks notice. He had that a few weeks ago, and episode 50 was gonna be his 2 weeks notice to resignation.
Once again, I give my before 2 weeks notice, and you know what? A lot of jobs when I would do that, they would go, "You can just go today." I'm like, "Oh fuck, son of a bitch." Screw you. But
no, we'll keep you around, and we appreciate you hanging out for the year. And me and John will keep the podcast going. We'll try and get in some good guests like the Kiwi last week, and you know what? Maybe Kirk will make a surprise appearance here and there. We don't know, but
I could pop back in a case. Yes, that is a possibility. Maybe we'll have some music. Maybe we'll go do an open mic with some music to share. So yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But we did have that going on. Kirk will be off the show in a couple weeks, but you know what? We're just gonna have fun with the last couple that we got, and you know, we go forward.
And if you guys think you can replace me, if the whole time you're like, I could do that, then now's your time to prove it. So go ahead, go on, you big mouse. Put your money on your mouth. Go, you go tell jokes and have nobody like them. You see how you feel.
No, it's not that we don't like them. It's just hard to laugh on a podcast. That's all.
This is a weirdest open mic. Yeah, it's like because I've done open mic. I've done performance for 2 people, and you know, when half the audience doesn't laugh, it's still doesn't sound like much. But no, it's been fun. Like this was, you know, especially during the pandemic and getting locked down. This was a fun. I don't know. The animation and the stuff that was popping up, like a joke was made and then like an animation was made of it, and I was remembered that yes, I made that joke. That was kind of fun.
Yeah. So we'll keep you know, we got a few more episodes before this is you know, at least 3 more episodes anyway. So
yeah, it'll be a barn burner. So stay tuned. You know, let's see if we can get the ratings up, people. It's not like Carson leaving, like I said, but it's better. I'm just kidding. No, don't. So, no, erase that.
Well, and as I was like, that's a good way to end the show, because you know what? Sometimes things change, but it's still Fuzed Relativity Podcast. Nothing going anywhere. So all will be well, and John will still be pale.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But on that note, we will go ahead and end the episode and sign off for this Friday night. Hopefully, I mean, we were kind of a little bit of a different show this evening. Motivational, hopefully, to somebody, because we talked a little bit about it.
That's like half the show was just motivational.
Yeah, sometimes you need that, though. Sometimes you just got to talk things out and get them off your chest. And if you have a reason to be motivated, you know, just sometimes you got to work through that initial, I'm going to call it a mind fuck, you know, just pushing through that first little barrier to get into something.
Sometimes you're in a funk, then you got to work your way out of said funk.
Yeah, it's not always going to be fun, and sometimes you got to put in a little effort, but hopefully it's rewarding in the end, and you don't feel like you wasted time, and maybe, who knows, your next ideal will make you millions. You don't know. Motivation by Chris. So, any last words, John and Kirk? What do you got? Anything to say before we sign off?
My nachos are cold.
Yes. All right. Well, you've got a microwave. We've heard it. So thank you again, everybody, for listening this week. We will be back next week with episode 50, inching closer to that year milestone, which we're all looking forward to.
Oh, Todd Barry fan. My name is Todd Barry fan. I switched bars shifts so I can go see Todd Barry at the Oriental Theater. So if you're in Colorado tomorrow, $20 to see amazing comedian Todd Barry. YouTube him, Netflix him. He's good.
Excellent. Sorry. And last little thing, me and Kirk will be recording new music on Sunday. So there's a chance we'll have some new intro music for everybody's listening. I want to say pleasure, but I don't know. We haven't made it yet. So
come on. It's good chili. It's good chili.
So, everybody, thanks again for listening. Again, I said that like 3 times. I should stop saying it. But we will see you next week. Same time, same place. Go boldly, friends.